Greetings, greetings, greetings. TGIF, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome. Thank you for sharing some of your time over here with me. I appreciate it. Well, I am glad to have some people I haven't seen in a while. Hope everyone is doing well. Um, just DeAndre Zero to Infinite, DJ Music, Information Man, Curl and M, Kenny, such a gentleman. I always say that to you in the chat room. We got Linda Anderson. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. And Point Man Black Chain, welcome. Thank you for coming through. Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody. Yes, I did. Okay. As far as how things are going, I hope you all are doing well. Um, for me, it's day to day. You know, it is what it is. I'm in the city of the Shy Town, Chicago, and we're just got news from our governor that he is going to have us locked down for the month of May. And I am so glad he has made that great decision because so many people are rushing to get back out in the street and infect people or whatever, give fear, because it's a little bit of everything. I don't know what numbers to trust, but I know today was reported that we had like over 2,000 some cases today, but we also have more testing, and that was mentioned too. Oh, let me change. My glass is talking. I just realized it. There we go. Hey, hey, Don Teasy, take it easy. um, I was saying that we had over 2,000 some cases, and that's up. So the governor was saying actually it isn't a bad thing per se because they're doing more testing. So they're able to get more numbers and see what's going on. So shout out to him. I'm glad he made the decision to lock it down. Not trying to be like Florida, people just flooding the beaches to get outside. And no, it was a lot of palm colored people. That is true. But still, foolishness is foolishness, and we don't want that. We want to stay safe. And I'm saying those 2,000 some people, the first thing come to my mind, well, 2,000 cases were confirmed. What 2,000 people that infected them, or however many people infected them. That's what be on my mind. So I know people are probably concerned with the numbers and all of that, but hey, I'm concerned because I don't have any direct answers and I would like to know. They also told us that we have to now start wearing masks when we're out. That wasn't so before, and I'm so glad that they've made that decision. Very glad about that. Um, and also Wednesday when I went for grocery shopping, because I normally would pick one day, but there's two stores that I go to, and actually I have to break them up in days because you can't carry but so much, and I'm not trying to do all of that. But I break my days up of shopping at these two different particular stores, and I actually saw more men with masks on Wednesday. I was so surprised. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. No one told you to do that? Okay, shout out, shout out. I was very glad. But, please be safe out there. Um, I do know someone, I am acquainted with the person that her husband was actually in the hospital and he's off the ventilator. And I'm not sure what day he's coming home, but, do be safe regardless of whatever's going on out there, what you think. It's a lot of reports, but please keep that in mind, okay? I really appreciate that you guys take care of yourselves. Also, it's going to be open panel, those who have, joined us for the first time. And it'll be open panel. Everyone is welcome, except for the person I told that is not, they know who they are. And other than that, we have one that has joined us already, and it is the classic Ruby, everyone. Please give her a round of applause. Please, please. She loves that. Give her a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for welcoming me so warmly. I missed you guys too. I did. I really did. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Leo.
Um,
It's not my fault, right?
so you can't help yourself, can you? Okay, that's all
Right.
right. That's
You
all
know,
right.
you want someone who doesn't enjoy the limelight. Make sure you don't have them in August, and you'll be fine, right? Yeah. Just
Oh, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
right.
I'll keep that in mind. Let me get my banner straight. But are you doing well? How are you?
I'm doing well. I am thanking my lucky stars that I don't live in Nova Scotia right now. I don't know if anyone heard about this because Nova Scotia is in Canada, and America thinks that Canada is just one giant state of America. So I know normally y'all don't pay much attention to us, but there was this massive mass murder that happened. Like within the last week, and it happened over the course of 12 hours across northern Nova Scotia, and like a lot of people died. It's this one guy just lighting fires, creating havoc. People come out to investigate the fires, they get shot. It was this really crazy situation. So thinking to myself, I think quarantine is driving people crazy. I really do. I think that we
Yeah,
thought we were okay because oh, we got the internet, and so we're used to getting our validation from likes and hearts and whatever on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. But I don't know. I think we really underestimate how much we need human contact, and for people who live alone, I don't think they're doing too well. So I think it's getting hard on people.
yeah, it's getting crazy, and people are using social media for all kind of things, and it's really not working out, which is going to be part of our topic today. Um, but yeah, I did hear about that. The story, yeah, the story was shared, and there's some other weird stuff going on in the USA. So no one is beyond craziness. I
Right,
think that's what it
exactly.
is.
Yep, yep. I mean, they're not allowed to do human studies the way that they used to out in the open like that. But they have done studies on primates, right, monkeys, where they have put them in just isolation, where they have no contact with other monkeys or living things, and they go crazy. I mean, they literally lose their minds, right? So it's like we need people. We really do, and just seeing a picture of people or seeing moving video, we think, ah, that's enough, right? We think that we're getting all this fulfillment from the internet, but it's not enough. Like we really downplay how important it is that every single day we've gone out to our jobs or whatever, we get handshakes or we get a pat on the back, we brush into someone, just that human contact, the fact that you exist and other people exist, I think is really important to us.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Hmm.
And what I'll do is I will share the video I received, and the volume is pretty good, but just in case the audience doesn't hear it, after I play it, I will give you a brief summary, and that way you'll be able to join the conversation. It's like, oh, okay, I understand now. And if you like to add something, no problem.
Okay.
So, all right, and let's see. The title of this one was Computer Love.
Mm,
Yep, that was the name of it.
mm, okay.
Okay, share audio, and let me turn it all the way up. Let's see. Yep, it's up. All right, here we go. I have a letter here from a male subscriber, and let's get started. Dear Shar, I am a subscriber of yours, and I check you out sometimes on Fridays. I wanted your thoughts on this situation I am in, so here goes. I have been talking to a content creator here on YouTube for a year, and I thought we were hitting it off pretty good. We have been very discreet. Yeah, I know it's not so common and a bit strange to do, but I was digging this chick and wanted to see if I can get with her. I know you heard about Raw Dog, and I ain't going out like that. She likes a lot of attention, which I give her, and so do the other guys in the chat room. Lately, she's been projecting her dislike of what we talked about on her channel. I'm not going into specifics, but she's pretty much ended it abruptly. I do feel some kind of way about it, but hey, I never got with her in a legit way, so I really can't miss what I've never had. What do you say about that? All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. I missed that one the first time around. I missed it. So I didn't. Wow. Okay.
All right. And for those that did not hear it clearly or loud enough, it was a gentleman this time that wrote in to say that he wanted to date one of the content creators in YouTube. And um, he's been, talking to her for a year online. Um, and one day, she started singing. She likes attention. She wanted more attention. Things started getting a little weird, and she ended it abruptly. He feels some kind of way about it, but then again, he just says, "Well, we never did connect in the first place, so big deal." And then he wanted to have my thoughts. Um, well, honestly, I don't think it was just, he was that cool about it. I don't think he would have written in if he, didn't think something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's what that letter was about.
Wow. Yeah, no. I think for sure what he wrote in, and like you said, I don't think he was cool at all. I think he was hoping you were gonna bash the hell out of this chick, right? So he could get that validation. Like he's not the only one who thinks she's a grimy bitch or whatever, but he can't tell anyone because he's been discreet and hiding it and blah blah blah. So, you're like the only person who's gonna be able to give him this public validation. She's a terrible person or something. That's what I think he was hoping to get from you, because clearly
Mm.
he's feeling a little bitter, just a little salty, just a little.
Yeah, I picked the saltiness out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, I it's my opinion that he's been giving her money, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
where the saltiness came in from. So, um, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah, for sure. He's been giving her money. He probably found out, he probably has some suspicions that, she's already moved on maybe with someone else. So it's like, oh, I didn't mean that much to her. She probably used, see the line that he just said about, well, I never knew her in real life in the first place, so I never really had her. She probably used that line on him, right? And I think that that extra, like, oh, so it was real to me and it meant nothing to you, and I have no real argument against that because we didn't meet in real life, and I didn't touch you and hold you and whatever, so what claim did I really have on you in real life? I think that probably was a slap in the face when he heard it, because you don't invest money into something imaginary, well, in your head. Like, you wouldn't invest that money unless you thought it was real. You wouldn't invest that money into a play relationship. It's real money that you really worked for and really earned.
yeah. And then a whole year.
Right.
Um, how was he entertained for a whole year with this woman and not seeing her?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Yeah.
can only go by the information that he's given me. I can assume and all of that, but that's the information that he given me. So I'm thinking he had to be entertained some kind of way, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that she was entertained some kind of way too. And I'm thinking it was whatever, super chat, Cash App, whatever, Patreon, something.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of my guess on that one. But um,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm going to say just in general with this, when it comes down to dating and who you're going to pick, um, Whichever way yeah, you got to be kind of careful, um,
Mhm.
because some of this is going to be just my opinion about what I would do and all of that. So I don't want to mix it up too much, but it's going to happen.
Right.
Now I'm going to put myself in this place. Now I'm the female, so I'm going to be the content creator.
Mhm.
And okay, I know I can't see this guy. I don't know what city he's in. I didn't get that information. It wasn't in the letter. So hey, I'm assuming if it was over a year, they were in different cities. So if
Mhm.
it was me and this guy seemed to be cool or whatever, I'm gonna I want to see him. I don't
Yes.
want no digital whatever. Just that way. If he seems cool, hey, I want to see him. What's up? Now discreet, I get the discreetness. No problem. I get that. You don't want to put it out there.
Right.
Um, I got that. But a lot of times, and you've seen it, when things go left, people put so much stuff out there. It's of course is always negative, but whatever it was, just own up to it. If you had a relationship, do the darn thing, own up to it, and keep it moving.
Mhm.
But in this case, back to my letter, again, I think he did feel some kind of way, and I'm not able. Well, I can guess I can email him back. But I would like to ask him, hey, why you didn't go any further with it? If you actually, was digging her,
Right.
did she try? How did this work out? Did you all try with each other to connect?
Mhm.
Because, is it a relationship?
Right.
Digitally, is it really a relationship?
Hmm. That is a good question. I guess, it comes down to, what do you believe that this is a real relationship? Or, I mean, did she believe this was a real relationship? Were you just fooling yourself into thinking this was a relationship, but, she clearly never felt the same way, and you only realized that when she cut you off? Uh, I don't know. Because, I think the same thing. Like, I do believe that you can create real relationships online with people,
Hmm.
long distance and whatever, especially with all the tools we have these days, right? Because you've got video calling and stuff like
Yep.
that. So you can watch someone while you're talking to them, and not, and hear their voice and connect with them in every way except for being able to touch them, which is difficult, but people do that in long distance relationships, right? Where you
Yes.
have met in person, but then you spend most of your time apart. So I wouldn't invalidate this by saying, oh, well, it was online. They met online and everything was, over the phone or in the back chats. Like, that could be real. But, like you said, it comes down to, it's been a year and y'all are adults and you didn't see each other once, like, not even one time. When I was a
Hmm.
teenager, I was dating a guy who lived in America, and saw each other 3 times in a year. We
Okay.
were teenagers. We were, I mean, we were basically kids, but you save up that little bit of money and you get on one of them buses or something. You know what I mean? It's like $150, but it's going to get you where you need to go. We had to cross a whole border to see each other, and we figured out a way to do it because it's like eventually you get to that place where it's not just enough to just hear your voice or whatever. I want to touch you, I want to hold your hand, I want to kiss you, stuff like that. So you find that way if you're really into someone and this is serious.
Yeah.
So why didn't they? It's
Yeah.
a really good question.
That's what I want to ask. Because again, I'll be the woman, the content creator in this story. Um, that's going to have to happen. Um,
Hmm.
that digital only going to last for so long. I need to feel something. Give me something. I'm gonna need to feel it because I'm gonna lose interest. And women, we got imagination. Yes, we do. We can imagine we in a whole relationship, haven't seen a person or nothing. I got that. That
Hmm.
is something that we can do. We're dreamers. We dream of our wedding date. We dream of what this gonna look like, what it's gonna feel like, all those things. I got that. That's not a problem. But when you're gonna make it happen?
Yes. Exactly. And I mean, I do think that okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt, right? I mean, hey, she likes attention, or at least she pretends to really like attention because that's what sells on YouTube, and your channel is your business, and you're here to make money. Fine. And let's give her the credit that she really did like this guy. She was really invested in him um, for some time. It does come down to eventually, if you don't take the next steps to make things more serious, they're going to fade away, right? Like, if you're not taking the initiative between the two of you for you to see each other, you know what I mean? For you to make plans to be around each other all the time. Like, it's in who's going to move? Is someone going to move? Because if this is going to be something for real, one of y'all is going to have to move at some point, right? If
Okay.
y'all right, if you can't take those next steps to even be having those discussions, meeting up in real time, hey, let's spend a 2 week vacation together in Cuba or something to see each other in 1 year, I would take that as a sign that this wasn't really something serious, and eventually it's like, yeah, this is not going to be enough, and I'm going to just naturally you kind of start distancing yourself, I think, because it's like, well, this is never going to go anywhere.
Yeah, just think, just the one time. Okay, I'm gonna go with the one time we met up spring break or whatever. Everybody
Hmm.
can get that time off, let's say. We met up, we had a great funky good time. Now you put something on my mind, I'm looking to see you again. Now I got something to reminisce. I don't have just some straight up fantasies and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think
Exactly.
give me something. 'Cause I need to smell it, taste it, feel it, something.
Hmm.
Give me something.
Exactly. E-
Besides my imagination
right.
running away with me.
Hmm. Oh my God, same song was in my head, I swear. Uh,
Yeah, you gotta give me something. And it'd
mhm.
be good if I had more information, but I don't. But hey, we can run with this and go in different places with it. We really can.
Right? Oh, there's so many places we can go because I said, like, let's give her credit. Hey, let's not give her credit. So let's just say, hey, listen. Let's give him credit. That, yeah, no, he was really serious and invested, and this was she was not. And when he wanted to take things to the next level, she said, yeah, okay, well, this cash cow's closed, and moved on, right? Like, well, oh, you want to be real with, no, sorry, I'm going to go back to my easy money with these guys over here. um and I mean, that can happen too. That's part of the issue with this only online thing. You don't know this person. Their whole entire personality, everything about them can be complete and utter lie on both sides, right? Like,
True.
nothing you say has to be true. How is anyone going to prove that? Like, every time you go, okay, I got to go to work now because I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I'm a this, I'm a that, and you hang up the phone, you can go sit on your couch and watch soap operas all day. Nobody knows. They don't know you, right? There's
That's
like,
true.
so right, like, you can't prove any of it, and that's part of the problem. So how do you validate that someone's not just playing you and not just saying all the right things that you want to hear? Because you're basically leading them, you're letting them know what kind of woman you want, and then they're just going to play into your fantasy because that's what gets their PayPal or the Cash App or whatever filled, right?
Hmm.
That can be likely too. That's a major risk, and I think probably there are more than just this one brave soul who wrote into you who are wondering, like, is this even possible? Is it possible to really find someone on YouTube? I think I connect to them, this actually ends up being real, and this actually goes somewhere. It's not all just a game. They're not all just faking liars.
Yeah, because I even give the advice when people talk about, write and ask about, seeing someone with online dating or whatever, and the first date. I'm always suggesting get in front of that person, see them. That way you can read the body language, you can feel, you can smell, all those things. You need to use your senses, not just the online profile or um, whatever it is that um, content creator have, because a lot of times they have the charisma it takes to draw the audience in,
Hmm.
but they're totally someone else once that camera is off.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So do you want to invest a lot of time in just the online present and not get to know what happens when that camera is off? That's who I want to see, because if that's the person I'm going to spend some time with, that's the one I need to see.
Hmm.
Just like people talk about, I've heard this said many times, and I do agree with it, that people go to work, they put on their work face.
Yes.
They get off work totally different once they walk in the door to their own home.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. I, I'm exactly the same way. I mean, people think, oh, Ruby's a typical Leo, right? So I must be very sociable, interactive, always calling people, talking to people, having people over. I'm nothing like that. My who I am while I am socializing is very different than who I am as a person. um, right? Because it's like when I'm socializing, but I don't
Right.
socialize all that often. And when I'm not socializing, I'm very kind of, to myself. I like quiet. I like to not be bothered. I like to not really have to talk to people so much, right? I'm pretty antisocial. Um, so it's like, and it's not me being fake. It's just two sides of my personality, right? If I'm going to socialize, I'm going to be personable because that's part of who I am, right? I like to make people feel
Hmm.
welcome and heard and understood and stuff. Um, but that also takes a lot out of me because I invest when I'm socializing. So I also need a lot of time to recharge when I'm by myself, right? So it's
Yes.
like, and that's not even an intentional mask. Let's talk about people who are putting on the intentional masks now because they know it's beneficial to them to pretend to look like XYZ, right? People do that too. That's nothing like their real personalities or what they really think or how they really act, right? Um,
Right.
I just know that this is what people expect of women or expect of men. So I'm going to pretend to be that when people see me, when I'm talking to people. But in the real world, I'm nothing like that. And I'm not even trying. Right? Like,
Hmm. Yeah, think about all the people, the different actors and stuff you hear that they're depressed, and some have taken their lives on drugs, all those different things, because that vision you see on television, whatever role that they're playing, that's just what that is. That's their role. That's what
mhm,
they give to you in front of the camera. But
yes.
turn that camera off. Now they got to deal with them demons. They got to deal with themselves. And a lot of times, some people just ugly. They just
Mhm,
straight up ugly, and you just don't want to be around them.
yes.
You just do not. And I used to work at this bank, and this particular supervisor, I don't know what was wrong with her, but people, they didn't like her. I did have an encounter that I did understand why people didn't like her, but I was able to, work and move on without really dealing with her. But people told me that she was different off work, and I'm thinking, seem like she would kind of reverse that. If you're over people, you're working with them. Why won't you be more courteous to them to get them motivated to get the work done than act a total behind, and people dislike you and don't want to come to work and don't want to work for you?
Mhm,
But that's what I was thinking in my head. I don't know how it worked out for her, but she died young. I think she did make it to 40, but she was a young woman, and she
wow.
died of a heart attack.
Wow.
Now, I didn't witness what she was like afterward. People have said that she was, you know, cool. I don't know. I hadn't experienced it, haven't witnessed it. I don't know.
Mhm,
But I'm going to guess that there was some things going on, and what you saw at work was more of her than not.
right. Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking, because you can, if you're evil and mean and unforgiving, it does attack your body. It attacks your skin, your face, your heart,
Mhm.
blood pressure, all different things. It depends on, your makeup, but it does attack your body.
Facts.
And that's why you hear, if you do a little investigation and find out some people that died of a heart attack that appeared to be healthy, but they were mean son of a guns.
Yep.
All that evil and it just attacked their own body, attacked their hearts.
Absolutely. Um, I mean, and people don't understand that that's a real thing. They're called stress heart attacks. Like literally, there's no arteries are clogged or whatever. Your heart just literally gave out. It's under that much emotional, psychological, physical stress on that level, right? And I mean, yes, you see that also happen with people who, die of a broken heart. For example, people who are married for like 70 years and then their spouse dies and then they die like a month later. That's normally what it is. You
Hmm.
see it in people who are overly anxious, right? People who are just full of anxiety all the time, stressed out all the time. They're perfectionistic. They think nothing's good enough and whatever. So it's like all those negative emotions that are just riding you 24/7. They really, really do. They impact your blood pressure, and blood pressure impacts your aortas and vessels and everything. Like people don't really connect all those things together and realize, like, yeah, that whole wellness stuff. Sometimes it sounds like really hippy dippy,
Hmm.
but there's something to it. There really is. And evil people who can just be mean and cruel and evil all the time, they're actually under a lot of stress themselves, right? Because you have to have a lot of kind of like self hate, lack of self confidence, a lot of things to hide, a lot of things that are like riding your soul for you to be mean and cruel and evil all the time, right? Like
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work. It's way more work for you to hold on to negative energy than it is for you to just be pleasant. Just baseline, borderline.
It is.
hmm I mean,
So,
you know, thinking about public personas. I mean, and I'm not going to mention any specific names, but
mhm.
you got a lot of TV dads. I could think about four off the top of my head of these 80s 90s TV dads that were literally the image of wholesomeness and goodness and supportiveness and all the things that you think of in the perfect modern age dad, but who they actually were in real life. And I'm talking about not like some crazy scandals that came out, although, yes, definitely the scandals add to that, but who they were in real life was nothing like the character they were playing, right?
Right.
And I'll give people an example that, is public confirmed knowledge. Danny Tanner from Full House, right? So
Hmm.
he was like this dorky, fun-loving, amazing single dad, right? I mean, he was kind of unsure of himself about women and whatever, and we associate that man and his face with that personality, that dad. He was nothing like that. His comedy was so trashy and like really lowbrow, right? I mean, he was nothing like you would never let your kids watch his comedy, like that kind of thing. But he was playing a character. But if you saw him in the streets, that's who you would think he is. Look, it's Danny Tanner. Oh, he's a good guy. Yeah, sure, you can babysit my kids, right? Like, I mean, like, because that's what you remember of him. But that was just the role he was playing. uh you know and we think like of actors as being like these actors on TV shows, but we have to remember that a lot of people are out there in the world playing a role because they know that that's the role that is going to get them what they want and get them where they need to go. There's a lot more actors out there getting paid for acting, um, that aren't on TV shows. They're in boardrooms. They're in your office as your manager, or they're the ones who are trying to be on the fast track for 5 years or whatever, right? We have to recognize people play a role. And, if you don't figure out what that underlying internal person is, that underlying internal character of the person is, you might be trying to connect yourself to something that you do not like at all.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I agree. And too bad, the gentleman in the email, he didn't reach out any, you know, faster to her. Because 1 year is a long time, or over a year is a long time, but within 1 year, you can get some time in there. You can get a weekend or something,
Mhm.
and just start there, little small trips or whatever, if you're interested. Because again, it's people connect in different ways because something they like or they think they like, and that's fine. But are you going to reach out and find out? Or are you just going to let that persona just be there and just daydream from 300 or however many miles away?
Mhm. Right? I mean, now I'm thinking about Mariah Carey. Carey, sweet, sweet fantasy baby. When I close my eyes, like that's what it is. Like when you want to live in a
Hmm.
fantasy world, you just want to be attached to this fantasy man or this fantasy woman. You close your eyes and you can imagine all the ways that they will be when they're in your house or when you're at their house, and the life that you'll have and the parents you'll be, and just it will just all be a sweet fantasy, and that's good enough for you. That's just the fantasy of what could be. I mean, you could literally waste, as a woman, I'm saying, you could waste all your reproductive years fantasizing about some reality that will never come true. Because even if you ever finally got into the same place, this person is nothing like you thought they would be.
Right. At least get that out the way. That's what I would always would say. Get
Hmm.
to meet them. Oh, no? Oh, okay then. I got to go. Peace. And move on to the next person.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
always said, in some of my letters, I've said that it doesn't take me long because I need to find out. I can't do all the guessing. I need to look at you and all that kind of stuff. Figure out, and you can figure out like just like what's the people tease us. They're saying that women they know within so much time if they'll sleep with you or not. A woman can make
Hmm.
her decision just like that. Well, I say, well, I need to see you so I can sit there and figure out, we're gonna make it. What we gonna do? Let's see. Am I really interested? I want to see you face to face,
Yeah.
not just when you go live
Right.
or when we
Right.
go to the Zoom room or whatever way you're doing it.
Hmm. Well, interesting story. So, and people might know this about me, but I met my husband on Black Planet. I've told the long convoluted story before. I won't do it again right now, but suffice it to say, basically, I almost had it like a bachelor process where, I responded to everyone's notes, narrowed it down to the top 10, talked to all the top 10 people, and narrowed it down to the top three, right? And then from the top three, those are people that I actually spoke to verbally on the phone and stuff like that. And then from the top three, I picked one to go on a date with. That was how I did it. It was really like bachelor like, but Black Planet
Oh,
Bachelor. Yeah. So of this top three now, right? Obviously, the only one I met was my husband. Um, and now you fast forward, I think it was about 5 or 6 years later. I was hanging out at my boy's house, and because we were watching the NBA finals, and one of his boys was gonna come through. We're all gonna play dominoes, and he came through, and like it took us a second, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're that guy!" Right? He was in my top three. I honestly,
mm,
he came off so different in real life. Actually, one of the reasons why, I didn't choose him for the date is because over the phone, he really came off like, an ignorant, arrogant, pompous ass. Right. And I like a little bit of that. But it's got to be in a playful way, but it didn't come off playful over the phone. Seeing him in real life, I got to see his facial expressions and the way he moved when he did things and whatever. And you could see he was kidding. And so it didn't come off as abrasive or aggressive anymore. Now it came off more funny, right? It came off more
okay.
playful. And so I was like, oh, he suddenly became a completely different person to me. And I was like, oh, so I was still happy I made the choice I did. But it was like, oh, he seems so different, right? The phone was not enough. right? These pictures of him were not enough. I needed to see him in real life and see the way he reacts to other people and to me and the way we're all talking and just the back and forth. And you see those facial expressions and those
Yes.
body movements and stuff, and all of that told me so much more about him than I had gotten from a few weeks of phone conversations. Like, it's really important. It does make a significant difference. And it can, as much as I'm telling you, hey, this improved my opinion of him, it could go exactly the opposite way. Where, you know what I mean? Seeing someone real
That's
life, you're
true.
like, oh God, you are really good at phone conversations because this is terrible. This is awkward and uncomfortable. So no, right? Like
And we have we have someone else on the panel. We have DeAndre. Welcome to the panel. Come on in.
Hey,
Welcome, welcome.
hello.
hey DeAndre.
Yeah, well, great. Well, great. It's outstanding. I think this, when you're dealing with people, um, over the internet or people kind of they get into this place of, I guess you get to be someone different, right?
Hmm.
You get to build a persona of something else. But the day to day you is something, totally different. And, when I got into this space of, creating content or, trying to being a content creator to whatever degree it is, what is shown to everyone may be, it's not fake, right? It's you, but it's just like in a job interview. You're not going to show up to get a job in your fuzzy slippers, right? In your loungewear, right?
Right.
Just like dating, right? The first couple of dates, you're trying to get to the next date, right? For the guy, right? And for the and I would say on the female side, she's trying to, if she shows interest in you, she's not going to show up not her best, right? you know she's
Yes.
stressing over what's the best thing that she should wear in a presentable fashion. Once you get to the seriousness of the dating, it's only over so many times that y'all been each other's presence and you're more relaxed, um that you put on your fuzzy slippers and your lounge wear, and you're not fully dressed down, but you're just enjoying the person for who they are. Now, when it comes to this space, everyone is not showing who they really are, because no matter how close we get, people are strangers. Like, I'm not like going to physically ever touch you, right? Like, in a scenario that is not related on some benefits, right? A mutual benefits. Like when they talk about content creators collaborations, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I follow different types of genres and things of that nature, and when people see two content creators collab, and not just on a platform, but actually they are together in real life sharing a moment, right? It's way different, right? I've collabed with content creators and I've actually met them in person, and they're way different than how I deal with them over the internet, right? And this is not even on the dating lines, this is on a business sense, right? So imagine um, getting into a personalized relationship with someone, and you've never physically touched them, right? Like that, your avatar is not who you actually are as a person. You're good, you're bad. You can, like, I can explain who I am to you, but until you actually sit in my presence, you don't know me. You don't really know who I am or where I've grown, or my likes and dislikes. You may like the person on the phone and they breath might stink. You might not like that.
Mhm. No, it's
You
Well,
true.
you can kind of correct that, but
Yeah.
as far as one another step, it is important to Find out who that person is if that's what the goal is. If the goal to get together, because you actually need to see um, if you can continue to see this person. If you start off with the 2 week vacation and move to every couple of months to whatever it gets down to, just to know how much of yourself can you give and share. Because if you look around what's been going on lately, it can get really ugly. People
Yeah.
Mhm.
putting all kind of information out there. So you
Mhm.
can't have this imaginary, never met you in over a year, donating to you, and expect everything to be just fuzzy without
Mm,
trying to get to know this person.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know, if I can add something here, because I think part of the thing is, and I think why we're seeing women in particular flock to this idea and really appreciate it actually, is because of hookup slash hoe culture.
Mm,
Right. And for all that women are pretending that they're really about this life and they're just loving it, they're not. Right. Women like to be romanced. They like to be talked to. They like to connect on a deeper level that involves speaking and conversation and sharing. Um, and honestly, because of hoe culture and hookup culture, right, there's so much sex involved really early on in relationships, before you really get to know each other. And anyone who's been in a relationship knows, I mean, hey, once you have sex with someone, that tends to change the tone of everything, and that tends to be, a part of every date now. So that means, a few hours of every date is now taken up towards the sexual activity aspect of things, and every date is building up towards the sex and blah 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 before you've gotten a chance to connect with each other and getting to know each other. So I think in a way, women are flocking to this because it's giving them the opportunity to basically do the 90-day or 120-day or whatever rule, without having to try to impose it on anyone, without
mm,
coming off like a prude or whatever it is, because you can't. You physically can't touch each other. So since you can't, this is the way you got it. You have to go back to old school rules where you have to talk to each other. You have to share. You want to see a picture of my boobs, you got to tell me something about your childhood, right? Like, I mean, like, it's almost like it's forcing people to go a little, take a few steps back in a way.
mhm.
And yeah, there's way more risks to this, as you were just talking about. But I think that's the part of this that appeals to women, or not just to women, because some men are tired of hookup culture, because they're done in their 20s, they're ready to settle down now, whatever. But you can't settle down if you can't find someone, because you can't have a conversation with anyone, because everything is about whether or not you hooked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and you're right. It's this has turned into how should you say, it's the new method of courting, right? Um what did men and women do, let's say prior to uh phones, right? You had to write letters, right? You had to write a
Mhm.
letter, and you had to send it, and then she would send the letter back, but you couldn't send the letter directly. You had to send the letter, you had to give the letter to someone to give to her, like one of her friends, because
Mhm.
it was looked down upon if you directly addressed a woman in public, especially someone, the whole courting thing, right? And then when technology upgraded, right? Then you could use a phone, right? You could call, and then somebody would pick up the phone, but she wouldn't answer the phone directly, right? And then there was a certain time where you talked on the phone, right? And then as
Mhm.
technology moved forward, now you have what was I remember that movie, I think this was '90s or something. Sleepless in Seattle. It was like Tom Hanks and the other lady, and he was on one coast, she was on the other coast, and they were in like a chat room or whatever. And they would just email each other back and forth. Um,
Mhm.
until they
Mhm.
finally made that move to actually,
You've
um,
got mail. Yeah.
yeah, you got mail, right? Yeah, you got mail, right? And they made that move until they actually finally went to see each other without ever. it's safer for women to do it this way, right? Because you're not running into some guy that has your phone number or has this, that, and the third, and and it's safer for the guy because you know you're still competing, right? But now the issue is now the false sense of this person. You're going to have to meet each other sooner or later, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna just like the lady where the guy was said he was 150 pounds, he showed up
Yeah.
300, right? Like dude's broke, right? Like, all of that, but it got to that point. Now, had this been a personalized thing, she wouldn't even got to that point because that guy wouldn't have never been in her airspace, right? So you have that monicum in it, and you have a different way of doing it. To me, what I
Mm-hmm.
see is it's this newer generation or the people that are still out there dating. It's this newer technology of the courting system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's safer for the women because they can kind of weed out, what I mean, to a certain degree, right? There's no 100% way of getting rid of something, far as safety wise, right? There's always that modicum of error, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and I see women, and this is going to continue. This is going to be a continuing factor um, with this, because it's just like anything else. And I think the newer generation will adjust. But the one problem that I see is all the adjustments, all the quote unquote scrutinization of going through that process. And if the woman says, "Oh, okay, this is the guy I want," and then the guy meets the woman, and then he got to the place of what her persona is, what she's telling him, and going back and forth. And then when they meet each other, and then she sees, okay, he's everything that he says he is within this. But if he, on the other end, sees that she's not what she says she is,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where that play it's like a seesawing match. And I think people need to use that um and they need to use that in consideration to a certain degree. There has a time where you need to meet a person, right?
Yes.
And you have to be in their airspace, like you were saying, Ruby. Like, you didn't know how funny the jokes were until you could actually see the facial expressions and the inflections of the voice and the body language, right? Like,
Right.
you thought he was a jerk until you actually saw him, and he's like really funny because if I say a joke and another person say a joke, it's all about delivery, right? You can pretty much say anything long as you know how to say it, right?
Right.
Right. Like, and that comes into that personal correspondence and being in that personal airspace. A lot of talking that humans do is through body language, right? And a lot of people don't realize that in a relationship, you don't need to talk as much. You just need to be more as attentive to the other person and understand, their energy and how they feel. Me and my wife, she can walk in a room, and I can, feel her energy. She can feel my energy, and I can tell, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. I didn't do nothing wrong to her, but she is upset about something. And it's
Mhm.
not even upset. She might be frustrated. So what I'll do is I'll make a joke so she'll laugh it off, right? And so she'll just laugh, right? Or she'll see me and she'll look at me and I'm like, what? And then she'll just do something and just look at me and I'll just start laughing and we'll just laugh and and then it's just what it is, right?
That's
And
good.
then I'll tell her later, thank you for making me laugh because I was thinking about some stupid stuff and it was dumb and whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of felt something was wrong with you, but I knew it wasn't me. I knew it wasn't me. I know it was something else. Now you can tell when it's you, right? When you did it, because you want to know, like, hey, tell me what's going
Yeah.
on. I do it, did I, you know? But this newer generation, they're not getting that because they're not within that airspace of people, and they're not getting that understanding that you still need this human dynamic, right? You still need to feel that energy. and understand. And that would actually help a lot of
Yeah.
people with their rejection, right? That
Mhm.
would help a lot of people with their rejection, right? You know,
Yeah. I I don't remember where the conversation I had it. I don't remember, but there was a conversation I was having, and I was stating that I've dated a lot of people, but sometimes people think that dating you have to sleep with them, and I'm like, okay, my experience, no, it doesn't take me long to know if I'm interested or not. If I get some creepy vibes or whatever the vibe is, I'm like, okay, no, yes, no. So it could be one date with this person, three dates with this person, a week, 2 weeks, and I'm out. But you don't have to sleep with every person.
Exactly.
With this culture now, people are hopping in bed quicker. So I don't even think I would, if I was a teen, I don't think I would join in that. But I understand today is a new day. I got that, but I don't think that would be me. But
Mhm.
I'm saying that to say I need that contact to figure out who you are. I have this interest, you have this interest. Let's get together, see what's happening. Let's get our vibes together and see if we want to go forward with this because it can work. It can work. You can meet someone online. You can date someone online. You can get your content creator online. But the fantasy, that's the part that's messing people up, in my opinion, about some of the stuff. You just have this fantasy that you're having a relationship, but you never seen the person. And time and time is going by. Okay, so how are you really relating with this person besides just when the camera is on and then when it turns off? I mean, what happens? Text, um, emails, FaceTime, Zoom, room, what? Okay, fine. But when you gonna get together? Isn't that the ultimate goal?
Mm.
That's what I'm. My question, isn't that the ultimate goal to get
well,
together?
it's like what was that that Stevie Wonder song? Or if you listen to all those old songs like
Hmm.
Me and Mrs. Jones, and you got the part-time lover song and stuff like that, they actually met, right? If you listen to the lyrics, they actually met. They was in each other's airspace. I think what the ultimate goal is it's the thing is that you put up a persona. Now, me, for instance, I don't care what people do when they back reaches of the back spaces of the back chats of YouTube because it has no bearing on me, right?
Right.
Whatsoever. And if you decide to have a relationship with a person that way, and they decided that's two consenting adults, and they should do whatever they need to do, and to me, it's nobody's business. Completely and utterly, it's nobody's business. But when it goes out on the front street and you're a content creator, oh, there will be talks about it, right? So um and this is just me, is that the reality of it is this, right? Like you were saying about the culture of this physical culture of people sleeping with each other. Well, all the intimacy and the emotion is in the internet, right? But
Mhm.
the person that they're in love with, or the two people that are in love with, they're so far apart, right? Through their whatever, because if they could have met with each other, they would have done it, right? They would have done it, right? You got to travel across states and stuff, or it's like, okay, you live on this coast and I live on this coast. Do I trust this person enough, even though we're talking to each other? Do I trust this person enough in the back reaches of your mind to fly all the way over to that place? And are they going to be there to pick me up? Either this is going to happen, is that going to happen, right? So what they do is they do all of the emotional stuff online, right? And then when they meet each other, there's nothing else to explain because it's only for the concealment of the deal of the physical, right? It's like this reverse psychology, but then here's the problem. they're not doing it with the person that they're actually talking to. They're doing it with a stand-in, with a different person they can physically touch that doesn't have the same qualities of what they actually want. So what they actually want is unattainable. So their physical need takes over. And that's why you have this break, right? They're living two sides of their mind. They're splitting their, what would they say, your yin and your yang, and it's not together, right? They're hedging their bets, right? If you bet on two sports teams and you put the equal amount of money on one side or the other, you don't really lose, but you don't really win either.
Well, and I agree with you that that's what they're doing. I think it's a little bit more than that. I think that, especially when you're looking at the millennials and younger, you've got an entire generation of people who don't understand communication and socialization the way it was meant to be understood because of the internet boom. So, for example, right, like you have a group of 5, 6 girls who've been best friends for 12 years walking through a mall. And where are they getting their social gratification from? Is it from each other? No, it's from online, right? It's from, they all took a picture, then they all posted on Instagram, and they're getting the validation from the likes, right? From the comments, from everyone calling them hot online, right? The fact that they're sitting next to these people they've known for 15 years, who are their best friends forever and who love them so much and will be there for that doesn't matter. That's not where they're getting that gratification that tells them they're amazing from. They're getting that from online. So it's like, just in general, this whole internet culture has fractured people's connection. Like, we're not connecting intimacy and sex and validation and attention and whatever. We're not connecting all of those things. We see them as separate entities. So it's okay to get those things from separate places, right? And I think that a lot of people, it's like when you go into public, it's the equivalent of you going out on Instagram, right? You every hair's got to be in place, everything's got to be just right. You got to work so hard for it so you look perfect and you smell perfect and you act perfect and whatever. So it's almost like it takes the actual intimacy away from sex. So it's like you don't want to have sex with someone that you actually care about and you're connecting to, because after you've gone through this whole entire charade to make yourself little Miss Perfect and to act perfect and whatever, the last thing you're doing is connecting intimately. You're just scratching an itch, scratching his itch, there you go. Okay, bye. And then, how do you connect with that person that you actually really care about online? You're in your sweats at home. You look terrible. You feel terrible. You're not even sitting up straight. It's like your t-shirt's grimy. You haven't changed in 2 days and you don't care. And it's okay because he doesn't have to be around you and smell that you're funky and see that your makeup's not on and your weave's all messed up and whatever, right? It's like, there's two different things. We're only comfortable when we're at home in a hole by ourselves and we finally don't have to care what people think about us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's safe to do this online relationship thing, right? Because I connect to you when I'm exactly myself and you can't see me, right? You can't smell me, whatever. And then when I get too lonely and it feels too echoey in this apartment, I'm going to go hook up with some dude for an hour, right? And, scratches that itch, makes me feel hot, whatever. And I'm going to go back into my comfy pants and my comfy shirt and whatever, and then go back to connecting with this dude who lives on the other side of the planet, who will never see me at my worst to tell me I'm not good enough.
Exactly. And then,
Woo!
and then, and the breakup is easy, right? You don't have to get your favorite pair of shoes out of the apartment, or he doesn't have to get his video game that he left there, and there's no awkwardness, right? It's just block out of the DMs, unfriended off of Facebook, change your whole profile name to such and such and whatever to whatever it is, right? My friends and your friends are not the same at all, right? Like we don't have
Mm-hmm.
that crossing of paths, right? Like if you're in a relationship in real life, then the longer you're in that relationship, you have a cross bleed of friends, right? Where you still go to the same places. So when
Yes.
you're on the internet, you don't have that. You can just jump completely out of a community or a group chat or whatever, and then you can go dive over somewhere else, and you're completely isolated from that person, and you just got over your hurt or whatever, and that's what it is. Or everything that you told that person was like a wall of lies, so it doesn't matter anyway, because any information that they had on you really didn't matter. So even if they try to put it out there, you can debunk it and said, I didn't trust you anyway, because look at what you did. You just exposed me to everybody, but all the information I gave you was crap, but I got all of your information. And then you get this vitriol venom that is just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's just weird place of where you're at, of what where people are, um,
Mhm.
and it's basically what I call it is it's an evolution of high school. If you really think about it, it's just an evolution of high school. It's like the pushing of the social construct of how society is, but that's how society is, right? It's the how should I say it? It's the court of public opinion in its most concentrated form. Um, with past that. But the other thing that I would say, being a content creator, it's if that person's not a content creator, right? Let's just say, for instance, you're a content creator. This person supported you. They doing whatever. They're not a content creator, but they support your platform. And for some reason, you and that person, y'all connect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now it is your absolute job, right? In to be mandatory is to protect that person's reputation, because they don't have a platform um to say or protect themselves, right? So you shouldn't ever put that person in a position, right, where their reputation, because they have to live in real life, right? Like, you have actually more quote unquote public credibility and cachet than that person that you're with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're with another content creator, and we know about 60 to 70% of that is usually beneficial on both parts, right? Like
Mhm.
Angelina and Brad Pitt get together, right? Because they're, I mean, they're public figures, or actresses,
Uh-huh.
whatever, and everyone's talking about it, right? Their wealth goes up, right? Like, they buy a mansion that's like $1 million, right? They Just because their name is on it and they're famous, that mansion now is like what? Now it goes up to 15 million. Angelina Jolie has a vicious breakup with, Brad Pitt, and then the mansion goes to 21 million, brought from some billionaire that you never heard about. But he's buying it not as a home, but as a piece of history of two known people that, hey, this is the house that Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt was in. This was their divorce. You see these scratches on the wall? That's where she threw the infamous glass at him and it broke right there. You see this? Stuff like that when you're dealing with regular folks. So when you're a content creator, you know what I mean? And I've taken my notes from other content creators from other sectors. They are very, very, very stringent on how they present their family. Very percent, right? Because, or their relationships. I've seen content creators in other sectors, like travel, in the travel sector, where they and their significant other had to let everybody know that they were breaking up,
Mm-hmm.
because they were doing their streams and their vlogs together, and people started to notice that they're not doing them together. So they had to actually come there and actually do the thing and say, "Hey, we're going through a tough time, stuff like this, but be respectful." And it was a splitter, right? And you see this through life, and you see this through the internet and social media and stuff like that, because when you're a content
Mhm.
creator, your platform makes you money, right? If you're a full-time content creator, um, you have to guard that also. But there's a time when you have to turn off the camera, shut down the stream, and you have to be yourself, and that person has you have to lean on that person that you're with for emotional support. And if you're out there having an altercation or an argument or something live, it's not that person's fault on how they react. It's your fault because it's your platform, and you need to do what is right, and you need to stop what's happening. It needs to be discussed at a different time. You do not need to show that. Period. End of story.
Well, and if I could just add really quickly, you know, I think people need to decide what kind of content they want to be producing and then do that. So if you're a personal vlogger, right?
Mhm.
What's her channel now? I think it's called Bree's House or something like that. Anyway, she at one point, her channel was called something different, and it was her, a black woman, right, with her white husband and their kids, and they're personal vloggers. So they're vlogging about their family, they're vlogging about their kids and their different experiences. They share hard times from the past and, story times and stuff like that. So when he cheated again, right? And that's why all of a sudden he wasn't on the vlogs and whatever. She explained that. When they broke up, they explained that, right? Why? Because they're personal vloggers who are vlogging about their family, vlogging about their marriage. Now their marriage is ending. Okay, so they put that out there because it makes sense in their content, right? And I think
Yeah.
people need to make a decision. Do you want to be a personal vlogger, or do you want to make general opinion pieces about, various things? Do you want to be a celebrity gossip person? What do you want to be? And then stick to your area, because I think that people get confused a little bit, and they start bringing their personal drama onto their channels when that's not the genre that they're supposed to be in. And I think it kind of taints their channel a little bit, even though they don't
Mhm.
mean to do that. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add in from there. Um, Earlier, when you mentioned the validation, um, I call that, just the likes and the hearts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of people do that. And for whatever reason, that is their inspiration. If I get so many likes, if I get so much whatever, watch time and all this kind of stuff, I feel really good about myself. And it's unfortunate that that is false. These people don't know you.
Mhm.
They're liking and thumbing up and all that stuff. Your content, your subject matter, maybe, but not you, the individual. And I think that's another place where a lot of these people get confused in. Um, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get the young lady that turns the camera on for Instagram and shake it up and shake it down. Oh, I got so many views. Okay. But that's not for you, the individual, the person you are. That's for your performance. That's what that is. You stop
Yeah.
shaking, they stop liking,
Yep.
Yeah.
you know?
Like you you look good, but you got the personality of a doorstop. Like it doesn't. This is where I tell a lot of people because I do work in the entertainment industry, and you meet a lot of people, and what I've realized from meeting A-list artists down to people that's just breaking into the industry is when I talk to them, there's this persona, right? They're in character, right? But the more that the night goes on, and then they realize that I don't have to be in character, then you see who they are and their different interests. You find out that they're like really nerdy, right? They're not really what you think they are because of the persona of the performance, the character, right? And everyone, no matter how much people talk about it and say it, when you get onto these platforms, you are providing a caricature of yourself, the best thing that you can put forth for entertainment value. That's not who you actually are, right? Now, for your inner circle, they know better, right? Because they talk to you and y'all share things back and forth, but that's not for the general public and consensus. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't know where people get this thing. Like this so-called reality culture that was started back on MTV with the was it the real world and the road rules and all that crap. Do
Mm-hmm.
you, that stuff is scripted. It's scripted. Like people don't
A
think
bunch of
it's scripted.
mess.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's scripted. Now, it's not scripted like a Hollywood movie scripted, but it is actually scripted and it's edited to a point to sensationalize the reality and the realism,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even the camera is set at a frame rate like a camcorder, so you think that this is happening right now in real time, right? It's psychology, right? There's a lot of psychology that goes into entertainment and media and film and stuff, right? And you got to understand that content creators, we didn't go to school for this, right? There's no there's no like schooling for it, right? Because if you think about it, and I'm gonna just break this down, right?
Okay.
Shar right now is running a panel platform, right? This is a panel of talking and concepts. And we have a lot of content creators in the chat right now, right? Ruby herself is a content creator, right? She doesn't probably think that, but she is.
Yes,
Right?
she is.
Yes, she is, right? Now, with that being said is it takes a lot of things for Shar to sit through her week, think of a topic, find a thumbnail that's intriguing, then set up the timing, get the people together, to actually speak about the topic, run it by them, connect with folk, write that topic down or get something in her head, right? Then put the tags, put the tags up, put this, that, and the third, set everything up, and then before she does all of that, which takes some time because she does this show once a week, she has to hit go live. Now, after doing all of that, she has to put her thoughts and processes out there. Then, when she does that, other people are here. So, even though we're talking this dichotomy of, Shar says something, Ruby says something, I wait my turn, I say something, but this even flow. This didn't come over overnight. Me and Ruby then ran into each other countless times, and we all talk to each other
Mm-hmm.
outside of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we got that over time. Well, that's a chemistry that happens over time. But Shar is the one that's orchestrating this in this setting. That's a skill. That's a talent, right? Now, the real Shar, the one that like a family member of hers might know, or one of her best friends might know, you're not going to know that. You're never going to know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're investing into that personally wise, and she's probably not going to let you come in there and do that, right? And neither anyone else on these platforms are going to do that, right? So that's the bigger issue here is that a lot of the newer content creators, I'm going to be honest with you, this is a show, right? This
Yes.
is a show. You are invited to sit in the seating, right? Your pay of admission is a like, a comment, a subscribe, a bell notification. And if you want to be on the premium list to sit in the front row seats, hit that Cash App link in that super chat. But far as going in the back of the dressing room and hanging out with the actors on the stage, no. You
Mm-hmm.
stay and you go home and you say that was a good show. That I got, and I hope that you learn something after you leave. You can't hang out with say you can't hang out with the people on Sesame Street that got his hand up Kermit's butt after the Sesame Street is over with. It's the same thing with this. There's a fine line, and this younger generation doesn't understand to keep that. You got to keep your private business private. right? You don't put everything on Front Street. And the way social media has taught them is that every single thought in their head, I gotta tweet it out. I gotta make a post. I gotta go on a rant, 150 character rant about how life isn't fair, where I need to keep that with my friends, right? We used to talk on the phone. It's not fair. Mom won't let me go such and such. Ah! You know, exactly.
There.
Yeah, it's like you have a best friend to do that with. You have a cousin or a sister or a brother or a person that you confide in or a love interest to talk about your problems and to do those things and stuff like that. You you don't the best way to deal with a problem if you're going to be a content creator, and this is how I see it, and everybody can weigh in on this, is that you need to to get past your problem. Then if you want to talk about your problem on your platform, then we need a conclusion on how you got to the crux of it and how you fixed it, right? We do not need to go with it with we do not need to go through it with you, right? And if you're just
Yeah.
making an observation, then you say, hey, from my observations, I see this. This does not affect me. None if you're bringing someone on that wants to speak about how it affects them and how they got past that in the interview stuff, that's fine. If you just want to get there and rant and just put your thoughts on something out there, that's fine. But when you're in a relationship and stuff like that, you or you have children or you have family members, you don't put them in a situation
Yes.
where they're vulnerable because of what you're spewing out in these social media streets, because guess what? The internet is undefeated. Yeah, you might post a video, say something, take it down, and think you're safe. No, somebody got that recording somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come. And you're gonna have to answer for it. So I'm just saying, it's just to me, even with the dating, even with the relationships, the personal relationships, even the friendships that you're building with people, you still have to keep certain things sacred because people don't know each other to that extent, you know, where you can do whatever. And a lot of people in these internet streets, they think they can do more than because you can't physically put your hands on
And that's unfortunate. People think that way. Um, I forgot who it was. I know it was a guy mentioned this. He might have been a content creator. He says there have been countries that will spend millions of dollars just to collect a penny of debt from someone. And I thought about it. Um, that's an interesting way how he put it, but I do know that there are companies, and they probably recoup it, but the fact is, they will go after you for just a few dollars that you owe them. And you may think to yourself, oh, I just owe them $5 and they're going to try to take me to court for this. It's the principle, Smokey. And people will come get you and they will fine you.
it. Yes. Yeah. Uh, I think this is really, and like I said before, I don't like, two consenting adults can do whatever they want.
Yes.
Right? If they both agree to it, the problem that I have is when someone that didn't consent to it puts that information out there, right? Right? You can assume something all you want, right? People can be friendly in the chats and whatever, and that's fine, right? And this is me, right? If someone told you something in confidence, right? Like we're on
Yes.
there right now. If I don't say anything and it's not in confidence, and I didn't say it here, right? No one said it here, and we were in the back cave talking, It should stay in the back cave. That's why I was brought up. I was taught that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like my mom told me, hey, house business, don't go outside. Don't take the business that happens in the house, don't go outside. That means if you go over someone's house, I would go over my aunt's house, right? And I was there with my cousin. And I remember something happened at my aunt's house that was kind of, messed up. So when we got to my grandmother's house and it was just me and my cousin, and my cousin was like, Grandma, guess what happened at such and such house? And before my cousin could get to the next sentence, hey baby, keep your mouth closed. They ain't none of grandma business. And if it was grandma business, it would have came out of the person's household that needed my advice. Then why are you in somebody else's business? Don't nobody like a person that run their mouth in the tattletale.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Yep.
ahead and sit down somewhere. That's what she said, right? In that learning experience, I learned something right there. Now, this is my grandmother. That's my aunt. That's her child, right? I know she would be concerned in my thought process. This is my cousin, which is, my aunt's niece, which is, her grandchild, right? But my grandmother, right then and there, as the elder, as the person with wisdom, stopped it right there in its tracks. Because one, now you're teaching a child to be messy. Because if you allow this to continue, the child will be messy, right? Right?
Yep.
The child will be messy, right? You don't need to be TMZ, right? And a lot of times, tabloids and sensationalized news and stuff like that, you know, when they do something, when they report on something, a lot of times people don't keep up with the story because when the sensationalizing of the news goes out, no one goes back when it was proven wrong to highlight how the initial reports were false. They were not true. They did not hit on all cylinders because we got new information. That person that was dragged, they got to live with that. They got
Oh,
to,
no. There's retractions in the newspaper. See, that's
yeah.
another thing people don't understand. There's literally a section in the newspaper for retractions. Okay. That means it happens with enough frequency that they needed a newspaper section devoted to, I'm sorry, we were wrong about this, and this, right? Um, and that's not newspapers, magazines, they all have retraction sections. Most of these websites that report anything have retraction areas where they retract things. How many people have ever seen a retraction?
Oh
Probably
yeah,
nobody, because no
yeah.
one reads them. Right?
I've seen it, but well, what I mean is, and you're absolutely right. There's a section for it, but it's not on that opening spread page of "Look at me," right? It's not. No,
Right.
there's not the same energy as just up now, such and such did
Yeah,
X,
there's
Y.
no news report. That's the thing. There's a news report to report this slanderous falsehood, right? And
Yeah.
then there is a section in the back, much like the classifieds, where they list, I'm sorry, we retract the statement we made last week about this because we were wrong. It's like it's small and irrelevant as those classified ads, not the big one-page ads, a little teeny tiny box, like next to 30 other boxes no one reads. Yeah, it's like that. So see, and that's part of the news, right? Now, on one side, though, and this is the unfortunate part, we have no problem with the media doing this to people until they do it to us. But the reason why we have no problem with them doing this, whether they're wrong or right, is because in 2 weeks, everybody except for the people affected forget. Like it's like irrelevant, just disappears. Once it's not in the news anymore, once it's not front page anymore, it gets to like fifth page, everyone forgets it even happened. No one cares anymore, right? It's
Exactly.
relevant. It might have ruined someone's life. The people who it happened to, they might still be dealing with it. It might be horrible. They might be going through horrible depressions. Marriages might be over, whatever. But the rest of us, we forgot. Like, who cares? Doesn't matter. That's not front page news anymore. Who's getting slandered today? I mean, reported on. Who's getting
Yeah.
reported on today,
Who's
right?
getting
Like,
the funny thing, and this is kind of bringing it into the content creator dating thing, is and is bringing into that. I was reading a news article on today, just going through it. It was the NFL draft. It was a NFL player, and well, a future NFL player, Cowboys player, right? He set social media ablaze. His name, wide receiver, CD Lamb, right? girlfriend Crimson Rose, right? Hey, these are that's their names. That's their names, right? Right? Explained her viral phone grabbing incident, right? So I read this thing, right? You know, you read it, but I actually see it, right? So what happened is he's on the phone, I guess, with the Cowboys, right? He's getting drafted, right? You know, this guy works all the way up. He's got his girlfriend sitting next to him. His mom's on the side. Everybody's around him, right? His other phone is ringing. He has it like on his lap, right? And I guess that was his agent calling him, right? And you know, he's thinking
Mhm.
whatever. And she reaches over to get the phone, and he didn't snatch it out of her hand. How everybody's got it. He calmly grabs takes back the phone, looks at her, say nah, nah, and puts the phone down and continues to talk, right? And she just sits there. It wasn't nothing crazy, right? And then you know everybody went off on it, right? Social media and stuff like that, right? Now, when you watch the video, there was nothing going on, right? There was nothing. He didn't just snatch it out of her hand and backslap her and all this other crazy stuff. But he, like a gentleman, he politely said, "No, I got this." Now, what she said in her reply was, "I don't know why y'all tripping. I was just doing the girlfriend thing. I was just answering the phone." Right? Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's fine, right? But in that situation, right? In that situation, right? And this is where it gets really tricky. She has to now reevaluate what she would normally do if they were
Uh-huh.
around, right? Because he probably would tell her, "Hey, babe, can you get that phone for me? You know, I'm busy over here." "Oh, babe, go ahead and answer the phone," right? Go ahead. But if you're going to grab his phone like you normally would do, you have to realize he's famous now. He's going to be a part of one of the biggest franchises in the world. The
Mhm.
one that's
Mhm.
worth the most, like higher echelon franchises that's worth. You know, it's like I mean, I think $10 or $15 billion that the Dallas Cowboys is worth just straight off. So every camera is in his home, even during this pandemic, to see that he has been drafted by this franchise. The things that you used to do, that you took for granted, you no longer can do in the public. Now you have to, even the point of grabbing his phone, you can't even do that anymore in the public. See, that's the shift in dealing with someone that's a public figure or a content creator, because the things that you would do when the cameras are off versus what you would do when the cameras are on are totally different.
Yes.
You
At least
know,
it should be. Yep.
I have a question, and I
Mhm.
think it was Six Figure Days. I have to go back and look again. Who brought up the question, right? But so we got these content creators, right? And hey, maybe you're not a content creator, but you started content creating for this purpose, because I've seen that too.
Right.
And they feel some ways because of how a relationship ended, or someone they're talking to that way treated them, or even a friendship, right? And so they go online and they do this whole entire expose, right? I'm going to slander you. I'm going to expose a bunch of stuff about you. I'm going to embarrass you publicly, humiliate you, all this stuff. Okay, great. Question is, do you guys think that after the fact, after they've done it, once their anger and all of that burns out, do you think that they regret it? Do you think that they feel bad, either for the other person or even for themselves, for putting that kind of information out about the other person and about themselves? Or do you think they just don't care?
Mm, if it's a woman, did it more likely in anger, and
Hmm.
that was her way of getting him back. I want him to hurt. Take that.
Yeah, that's that. That's that.
If it was a man, he might have been embarrassed. Something happened where he was embarrassed. So I gotta embarrass you. Take that.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm,
That that's my opinion for that.
I I think I think with the and for, speaking for men, not all men, but speaking for myself, and I identify as a man. Okay, so
I identify as a man.
hey, you gotta
We gotta clarify that in this day and age. Go ahead.
yeah, 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 just clarify that. So what I say is men get their feelings hurt too, right? But men's feelings are more the pride, and the pride is how other men judge you by and how other women will see you, right? So in in that option, when a woman when she feels hurt, she don't care, right? She don't care. She don't care how everybody see it because she feel as though you hurt her. So the world is blurry and she has laser focus on you, right? And it works both ways, right? When she's in love with you, the world is blurry, laser focus on you. When she is hurt, laser focus on you, right? No one else is gonna feel that. So with men, it's more about it's about what everyone sees them as. Like the world is now clearer and louder, right? When a man is in love with a woman or that dichotomy, it's when I walk around, when me and my wife started dating, I would walk around with my wife and I let her walk in front of me just to see how many guys would try to talk to her. Right? And they'll give she'll walk with her friends and they'll like, hey man, who that, who that, who that? And then, I get, and I took that as a badge of honor because don't nobody want something that nobody else doesn't want, right? It's like just that's what it was, right? And and proud to walk around with her because the world was laser focused, right? On her, which was me being able, and she's in love with me. Her focus is on me. My focus is on the world. The world is focused on us, but she doesn't care about that. But my pride cares about that, right?
Of
Right?
course.
My pride cares about that. And she's not stepping out the house looking this type of way and that type of way, when we going out to do whatever we're going to do because she wants my validation, but she represents me in a total and she's asking me what do I think, but my thought process of what she's wearing is what the world sees and her representation of things. And this is how men gauge things differently in that dichotomy, right? And we do have laser focus when we're in love, but it's more about how it is. And that instance when that happened, he would have normally just let her pick up the phone, but he instantly clicked and saw that if she's going in his phone like that, he gonna have to hear it from another group of men, and he gonna have to check this right now. And she is not thinking that way. She's just trying to be helpful, but he has to actually reset the boundaries. And he didn't snatch it out of her hand. He politely did it, but she understood the message between, right? Between what's going on. Now, something as small as that got blown out of proportion, right? Just something as small as her grabbing the phone. He's on a phone, grabbing the phone like that. Now you're going to hear about it. But
Yeah.
when I watched it, but then I saw her reaction of her explaining herself to a group of people that she will never meet a day in her life.
Oh boy.
And then the problem is that they're not going to last too much longer because he cannot be with someone like that in that situation because she's already showing that she cannot handle the pressure of dealing with a person that's going to have that much of a following.
Oh wow.
See, I don't know. Maybe it's because I remember the, good old days of the landline. I don't know.
Yeah.
But right, but to me at least, right, and maybe because I've also really only been with people who remember the good old days of the landline, and really don't have anything to hide. If anything, I've never been in a situation or a scenario, even in my dating days, where a man had some issue with me answering his phone to the point where I've never really volunteered starting that process off. Well, hey, I'll answer it since it's near me or whatever. But more like the phone's closer to me and he's in the bathroom or something, and I'll be like, and I'll look and be like, oh, there's a real number calling your phone, like, as in it's not a creditor, it's a real person. You want to talk to them? Yeah, right. And then they'll be like, oh, answer it for me, and I'll be like, I can't answer your phone, and I'll be all nervous about it, the first time. So I can't answer your phone. No, you answer it. Right? Okay, fine. I'll press answer, but I'm not talking. Right?
Yeah, you
So that's
just
where
hand
I'll
it to
start.
him.
Yeah.
You just take it and hand it to him, or you're just like, well, he can't. Okay, and then if you do answer, it's a quick, like, hey, he can't come to the phone right now. He'll call you back. You know what I'm saying? Just answer.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like I'll be like, oh, I'm the one. He's over there doing some work on whatever, right? And I'll be like, oh, you got a text message, right? Because the screen lights up, and be like, oh, tell me what it says. Now, the thing is, right, I've always been in relationships where that was the dynamic. So to me, like, I don't understand the reaction, because I've always dated men, right? Always been in a situation, not just because I'm married now, so it's different, but even before that, right? Where it was like they wanted me. Yeah, answer the phone. Here, let me know what the message said. Who called me? Right? Because they don't want to have to stop whatever they're doing to check, and I'm not doing nothing, so I might as well check and let them know. To me now, that's not to say like I'm demanding that from all men in all relationships or whatever. I'm just saying I think that there's something a little bit weird about this massive reaction of someone answering your phone or reading your text, especially if you've been with them for a long time, because before there were cell phones, there was the landline. If someone was going to call you, they were calling the landline, and whoever the hell answered the phone is whoever the hell answered the phone. And if you live with this person and that's your significant other, why is it a problem? I guess that's the way I see it.
Oh yeah, like what you're saying makes complete and total sense, right? It's logical, right? Right. And even I said it myself, like, my wife answered the phone, the phone's right there. Hey, who is it? Oh, such and such. She'll just hand me the phone, or she'll answer, hey, he's doing something right now, he's gonna call you back, or whatever, right? When someone calls her, I was like, hey, your phone's ringing. Like, I don't even pick it up. Your phone's ringing. She said, hey, can you hand me the phone? Here you go, or whatever, right? And that's what it is. The problem, and it's not a problem, but here's the issue. His agent called him, right? And when you start dealing with teams, or you start doing high level business, to that point, and this is men. This is what I'm saying. This is how men see things, and whatever, and how we deal with each other differently. Is that it's this weird thing? Is that, like, unless she's in an official position, like, had that been his manager, right, his business manager, right, right. Let's on the case like Lamar Jackson. His mother was his business manager, right? So her answering the phone wouldn't have been a problem, because that's her official title, right? Or in the case of The Rock, where his ex-wife, which is his still business manager now, when they were married, she's answering the phone because that's her job. This is his girlfriend, right? And the problem is that live on air, and she didn't do anything wrong. And this is the thing that I want to put everybody out there and say, she didn't do anything wrong. She just did what she normally did in reflex. The only problem that I would say that happened that made this exacerbate past what it needed to be is that she was defending her actions to a group of people that didn't matter. And the reason why I say is they're not going to last too long is because these athletes, when they get in front of you and they say anything, they're groomed. They have a media person standing right there. And the funny part about it is most of the media people that groom them to say the right things when they mess up, or before they mess up, are women. They're women, right? And if you think about it, it's a way of, she didn't know because she was ignorant to the fact that what you normally do privately is nothing. You can't do this publicly, right? Is even if you notice this, right? You notice when actors and actresses that are dating, when they walk the red carpet, they're walking the red carpet in such a way that they're together, but they have to stop, right? And then the actor, he moves to the side, right? And then she gets hurt the cameras and stuff and whatever. Then he walks over and then she steps back and walks down the aisle a little bit and he gets his and then they get their group shots. And then if she's going to kiss him, she does it on the cheek or he kisses her on the cheek, right? He doesn't do it mouth to mouth in front of everybody like they're like making out in a movie scene or in the back reaches of their own house or their privacy, right? So there's these unwritten rules. And what she did was not knowing, right? Because you got to think about it. Not to say that they don't make money, is they come from a lower social standing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's these unwritten rules. Unwritten rule number one: when the man is conducting business, she had to just sit there and not move, unless he directed her to, hey, answer that for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
In front of the cameras, right? Because if she's doing this now, what would she do in front of a group of high level or powerful individuals if she didn't feel a certain way or felt a certain way? Well, here's the problem, right? We saw in the Ray Rice incident what happened with that, right? And if you notice, a lot of these younger athletes, so they don't run through the pitfalls of certain things, is you'll see them be with their longtime girlfriends, and then when they get to a certain point, they break up, right? And it's because the machine itself has to put you with someone that's groomed and they already know the unwritten rules.
See, I think though, and to me, this is exactly what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I'm
Oh,
saying
yeah,
though
yeah.
is that this is exactly why it is that most of the public relationships, period, cannot and don't work out. By and large, for the most part, right? I
Yeah,
mean, even the ones that were like, "Oh, we're gonna last forever," right? Brad and Angelina, done. Um,
definitely.
it's like they're all breaking up. And hey,
Mhm.
guess who doesn't break up? The ones like Will and Jada who disappear for 20 years, right? I mean, God, like
Mhm.
literally, people started commenting just like we're commenting now, right? You're commenting on, yeah, well, she should have done this, and he should have done this, and they should have known how to do this, and they should not have done this, and blah 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 blah. Oh, guess what? That kind of speculation and pressure should not be on anyone's personal relationship, right? Because not only is it none of our business how people choose to run their households, or what individual differences they choose to make with their relationships, right? But like, whose relationship can stand up to that much outside scrutiny? Nobody's, because even if
Yeah.
you want to ignore it, right, it's almost impossible, because it gets into your head. It plants seeds in your head about your significant other, about the things that they're doing, because you used to understand your relationship perfectly until 752 people told you all about yourself and told you all about your spouse. Right now, all of a sudden, every single thing they're doing, you're looking at through a magnifying glass. You're trying to throw the magnifying glass away, but you can't, because someone planted those seeds. Right now, all of a sudden, now you're taking a double look at what they do and when they do it, and why didn't you know how to do this, and why did you do that, and what did you really mean that you meant this instead of doing that? And it's like, who can stand up to that at the end of the day? And this is where, like, I tell anybody, like, that doing that whole, there is not, look, John and Kate plus 8, right? They're done,
Yeah, that was
right?
crazy.
Yeah,
That
right.
was
Like,
the
everyone's
yeah.
done. Yeah, they're all done. Why are they done? Because they cannot. Relationships are not meant to stand up to that kind of outside scrutiny. That's why people say, like, yo, if someone's wrapped up in their mama, right? Whether it's a man or a woman, someone's wrapped up in their mama and everything their mama says, and they want their mama to be involved in your relationship like they're a third party to it. That's, stay far away, right?
Oh
Whether
yeah.
it's a mama's boy or a woman, it doesn't matter. Why? Because no one's relationship can stand up to that. And it's like, I think we need to stop inviting so much public scrutiny to personal relationships. Like, I understand we think it's our business because we're just spectators and we find, criticizing everyone else's lives fascinating.
Oh
But
yeah.
like,
Of course.
I don't think it's really healthy.
No, it's not, and like you said, and you pointed out something that's great. Like people that are famous and their relationships last long, right? You don't know who their spouse is. Like Keanu Reeves, right? His wife's older than him. No one knew who she was until recently because she became a director, Like she finally got to the point of directing, right? But she's always been an assistant director and whatever, right? But no one knew who she was really unless you were in the inner circles of Hollywood. And he did that purposely because he knew the pressure, not just for him, right? Because like think about it like this, right?
Right.
If
Mhm.
you're married or you're engaged or you are quote unquote um if you are quote unquote involved with someone that the public deems below your standards as a content creator, right?
Mhm.
Right? Right? They will not put just pressure on you. They will put pressure on that person, and that person will just because they love you so much, they will feel less than, and then they will see, and then they will move away from you completely. Right? I was looking at what's that guy? The guy that got locked up and he had his mug shot. It was what's his name? Prison Bay, right? Prison Bay, right? It was
Yeah.
Yes.
that guy, right? That guy, right? Okay, so now remember, he was with his woman. They got four kids, right? I think they have four kids. He went to prison, right?
Uh-huh.
Went to
Mhm.
prison. He gets these modeling contracts, right? Now remember, this guy he was going to prison. Those tattoos on his face means he was gang affiliated and did some stuff, right? He
Okay.
gets out of prison. How does he get out of prison? Well, the modeling company paid that. They
Mhm.
sent lawyers. They rigged the system. So now they have this new huffed up quality of life, but for him to get out of prison, he got to do what they tell him to do, right? Now, when you see the woman that he's with, oh, you with her? No, that's the mother of his kids, but you with her? Now he's now with the heiress of Top Shop. Now, if you go back and look at the woman that he was with, she looks way better than the heiress of Top Shop. But the heiress of Top Shop is a billionaire, right?
Mhm.
So now you with this dichotomy, is it about looks or is it really about social standing? And if you go along the list of things, it's about social standing, right? Take it with the whole Kardashian thing, right? That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But let's look at the sister that's always with the NBA players, right?
Mhm.
She the one that was with Lamar Odom, and then she's on and off again with Tristan Thompson, right? Well,
Mhm.
here's the thing. The dude openly cheated on you with your best friends and all this other stuff. The world knows about it. This is what's happening, right? He lives in his own area. You don't live where he lives, right? Okay. Why are you still with him and haven't moved on? Well, here's the thing. In the NBA circles, you're like a McDonald's, now serving 3 million, right? Everybody done ran through. So you don't have a choice in this matter, but you have to deal with him. Now, why would you be like this? Because he must know something that we all might know or hint on. These are content creators and they're playing their life in front of you. They're showing their life and their relationships in front of you with the cameras rolling, but they're sensationalized. Like Kate plus 8. I watched it just to watch it. And you know what I saw? I saw the first, what, 2 seasons? They made him look like he was the worst irresponsible dude in the world, right?
Mhm.
She would come home, talk crap to him, whatever, because she was making the money. But you got 8 kids,
Mhm.
Wow.
right? But those kids are being raised, and he's a stay-at-home dad. Now let's flip that on the other end. If a guy, right, not to make this like a feminism or toxic, none of this, but if a guy did the same thing that Kate was doing, he would be the worst person in the world, right? Right? Switch the gender roles, right? But
Mhm.
if you seen halfway through the season when he decided, I'm done with this, right? And she had to work and then take care of the kids, and the nanny was there. And because the nanny is now a woman, right? And she was doing the same destructive, abusive behavior that she was doing to her husband at the time, right? And everybody saw who she really was. Now, Why did this happen? Well, let's just say this, right? It's how the perpetuation of the relationship was, not from what it was really saw, but how it was put out there with the narrative of how it is. Now, people do not understand that these platforms are not how people live every day. Regardless of if they say, I'm real, or I'm giving it to you straight. You're not giving anyone anything straight up, because I don't care how well you tell a story or whatever, there's going to be something partisan in that story regardless. Whether you're not talking about your best or your worst or someone else's best or worst, there's going to be a little bit of partisanship in that, depending on how you feel and how it's delivered and what message you're trying to get across, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
You
going to
know,
be there. We're human.
I want to, and I know we're gonna be wrapping up soon, Char. I know. But I know. But before we do, I just wanted to ask: can we just cover one thing, because we didn't cover this, but I think it's a really important part of this YouTube internet dating thing. And we don't really talk about it so much, because you have to think about it. Okay, let's say you do have what you think is a valid relationship with someone, but obviously, again, you guys live far away from each other. Even if you are going to meet up and see each other on rare occasions or whatever, there's a whole bunch of space in between there where you don't get to see each other. Right now, we talk to teenagers about sexting, right? And you guys are too young. It's kiddie porn, blah blah blah. It's stupid, because we know teenage relationships last for 3 weeks, even though you think it's like forever. And then, yeah, now that's out with all your friends and whatever, right? The internet's forever. Um, but I guess the question is, right? I mean, is it a valid thing for people to get into this, cyber sexing kind of thing as adults in these adult relationships, with people you've met online? And if it is, where are the limits? Like, is it, how do you know that this is a real one, and hey, it's okay for you to engage in this kind of stuff, and it's not going to bite you in the ass? Is it never okay? I mean, we are grown-ups, and we're going to want to scratch that itch somehow. So you're going to want to maybe do some online, hey, camera stuff, or send the sexy pictures, or like, what do we think about that as two consenting grown adults, with sexual appetites, and you meet someone you like on YouTube, content creator or not? What do we think about that?
What are you willing to deal with as far as if it gets out? If she
Mm,
shows your pictures or he shows yours, are you able to deal with that? Um, a lot of people, they want to run for public office and some different things, and that shuts them down because what they were doing they thought was innocent, and it came back to bite them on the butt. So it depends on how far you want to go. As long as you can own up to it, and I say that because you're an adult. If you can own up to it, then do whatever it is you want to do.
hmm, hmm. You know, I know that there are some people, and I had to have this conversation. Well, me and my friend had this conversation with her then 16, turning 17-year-old daughter. So she knew sexting, like sending naked pictures of herself, was stupid, right? Because they could send those around. So she thought she was safe doing the video stuff, right? Because that's not a picture, right? It's live in the moment. Um, what she didn't think of was print screen, right? You print screen, whatever's on your screen is getting captured as a photo, which is what happened to her. So she was doing this online stuff with a boy right from school, and he took a picture. And we know about this because I guess he got in trouble for something unrelated to her. The mom went through the computer and saw these pictures of her, recognized her face, and called her mom, sent the pictures to her mom, and said, like, this is what your daughter's been up to, just in case, right? So this is how she found out the hard way. And I think people think that they're mitigating risk by doing certain things, like doing it online, on video, for example, where they're not sending something. So they think that they're mitigating the risk, But I guess like it comes down to, are they wrong? Are they wrong for, hey, I'm in a relationship with this person. They say they love me. I love them. You know, we've connected deeply. I should be able to trust them. You know, with my naked body, I should be able to trust that if, you know, we fall out for whatever reason, that these aren't going to go public. You know, are they wrong for trusting someone under those circumstances?
Yeah, I would say this. And you know, with children, it's a totally different thing because
Mm.
it's children, right? It's children, and but I look back at in the teenager aspect of technology, right? If someone was smart enough to hook a recorder and bug my rotary um star 69 ID caller ID three-way phone that I had as a teenager and heard the ignorant dumb stuff that was coming out of my mouth of me talking to some girl, plotting and planning to come over her house half day on a Wednesday after school.
Mm.
Yeah, it'd have been way more worse than video showing I'm like, look, people got porn at the drop of a hat, right?
Wow,
Like,
chicka, wow, wow.
yeah, it's porn. Like, it's porn on the thing. Webcams, like, you got to think about this, right? Webcams are a thing, right? Like, webcams been put out there. It's like, you know, webcam porn. It's like the perversion of what's going on in technology. So with kids, it's like this, right? He's 17. He did something stupid. She did something, whatever. And it's a learning experience of guard your reputation because your life depends on it, right? Now, for adults in this day and age, here's the problem. You got to do it, right? And when I mean you got to do it to a certain degree, if you're getting into a relationship with a person, you ain't been around them, you don't want to run up with the 150-pound overweight person that said they was this, or you find out that this person identifies as something else, non-binary, and you didn't sign up for that, right? On both ends of the spectrum, right? You know,
Mhm.
it's this weird thing when it comes with technology. Thank God, you know, we don't have to deal with that, right? But with adults, and this is just my take on this, and this is how I look at it. If you both agree to do something, right? It's just
Mm.
like anything else, right? You have to prepare yourself for the understanding that this person can break said contract, right? Or agreement that y'all have with each other in love, out of love, right? People do it a lot. That's why
Mhm.
divorce rates are high, right? Right. So you have to take a risk. Every day we walk out the house, we take a risk. Even now, right? This whole
Mhm.
Yeah.
pandemic going on. You can't even go get groceries without putting your life on the line, right? The least you had to worry about is not paying attention when you cross the street or making the suspect left. You know, you could have did everything right up until some person coughed on you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is a risk, right? And if you're engaging into that, that's fine. But it's just like anything else, right? Have you built the building blocks to be with that person, or have y'all shared that? And is it past that? And have y'all basically said, like, yo, this, I like you, you like me, but this is like this metaphysical thing. It's not a physical thing because we're not in each other's airspace. But the idea of you and that thought of you, I'm in love with that. I'm not in love with you because I don't know who you are,
Mhm.
right? My imagination, right, of who you are and you're saying the right things, that's where it's at. Now, where we go from here, that's cool. Now, if we meet up with each other in something planned, then we need to already talk about what we're going to do, right? Because if some little people start popping out from us, procreating, whether we like it or not, we got to deal with each other for the rest of our lives, right?
Mm.
That's the next thing that's the next part of that, right? You know, right? And whatever we agree upon, we have to keep it here and to make sure that's straight and bountiful. there's going to be some legal action coming to play if you don't do X, Y, and Z. So now, since we're on the internet and we throwing messages back and forth, here's a non-disclosure agreement. Kablawi. Take one of these NDAs. Take these NDAs, right? Non-disclosure agreements. Take one of those. Take one of those, right? Like people don't realize a lot of these content creators or a lot of these public figures, right? I've been around, entertainers. When they take groupies, the quote unquote, you hear the term groupies.
Yes.
When they take groupies back to their hotel room with their crew, their cell phones are confiscated.
Yeah.
Right? And they're made to sign an NDA. They're made to sign it, right? And they don't twist their arm. They say, look, before you go into this room, you need to place your cell phone in here, right? At any time you can leave, just walk out if you don't feel safe. The security will walk you out. But before you step in this room, you got to sign an NDA. If you do not want to do those things, then you can leave. Now, here's the funny part. If you got a group of 10 women, the ones that have nefarious actions, when you bring that up into play, about 4 of them leave. They leave because they're there to use that as a springboard, right? Then the rest of the 6 that walk in there, they'll go in there. And if they don't want to take it any step further, they'll excuse themselves, and there's no hard feelings, no one's whatever. The ones that get caught up most of the time when you hear this stuff is the ones that don't keep that going, right? And you'll be surprised that you would think that the biggest quote unquote hoes will be the men, but it's actually the women entertainers are the worst.
I have a question about that though, right? Yeah. So if we were doing, let's say, I wanted to start a business, right? And so, hey guys, come to my business and I'm going to get you a YouTube relationship NDA, right? And so, everyone signs this, and then that way, hey, you can send all the nastiest pictures you want. You can do all the nasty stuff on Skype you want. And ultimately, you have both agreed no one's disclosing nothing, right? Verbally, especially not sharing any type of imagery, whatever, right? Now, my question is, will that hold up if a person lies about their name? So that is to say, so I'm gonna put I don't know, Just DeAndre, aka, and then you tell me, well, your real name is Dave Wilson, right? So I say, okay, your real name's Dave Wilson. All right, cool. I trust you on that. So Just DeAndre, aka Dave Wilson, and I say that my name is Lena Robinson, and it's not, right? So now we both put our fake names on this non-disclosure agreement, right? Real username, fake real name. Will that hold up in court if someone violates it?
Yes, it'll hold up because it's about the non-disclosure agreement is about anything that happens backdoor between 2 individuals, whether it was lies, if it was truths, or whatever, right? Regardless, because it's going off of your persona publicly, right? Like when in the U.S., when you sign up for a job or whatever, they'll just ask you any other aliases that you use other than your real name, right? And when people refer to people, right? When people refer to people, no one calls me by my whole name, right? No one calls Ruby by her whole name, right? We refer to each other as our screen names or whatever. Now, is DeAndre my real name? Yes, it is. And I ain't got shit to hide. And if anybody wanted to go find my information, I got security clearances. So if you dig too deep, you might have some feds at your door knocking on it, asking you, what are you doing? So like not everybody has, that type of protection on themselves, but at the same time, non-disclosure agreements are for this one purpose, and that is to basically protect your reputation, right?
Right.
So that's all it's there for, right? So it's basically a way of suing a person, right? Basically making them hurt financially if they violate that. Like in the case of the lady that Trump was messing with, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
When you notice his lawyer went to jail for something else, but his lawyer went to jail because for the simple fact of the matter is the non-disclosure agreement that she signed, right, was legal. The way that they went about doing it was illegal because he used his money to pay for it because of future promises from Trump, right? So the non-disclosure agreement wasn't between really her and Trump, it was between her and him. So anything that she
Oh,
was held to wasn't between her and Trump. It was held between her and his attorney, which therefore actually made that NDA invalid because he is a person that holds this position in the law, right? You can't have because he was the signing officer of the witness of this transaction. So the witness can't be involved in such a way that it will give one side more than the other side. So that's why she was able to violate the non-disclosure agreement and come out and do what she did and basically sue whoever she needed to sue.
Okay.
That's basically what it is. And then he went to jail for lying about it under oath when it was brought forth by Congress.
Right.
See, so that's how non-disclosure agreements work. Basically, so if Stormy Daniels did this, right? That's the lady's name. How many other women did Trump do this with, right? Because it's a
uh-huh.
pattern, but they can't say anything. For the fact of the matter is that they got paid, and we all know prostitution is illegal unless you're in the state of Nevada, right? Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if this happened, then that means that they were not paid for the prostitution, but they were paid to keep the non-disclosure agreement intact. And if they violated it, then they would get sued, not only the amount of money that this happened, but it of that was transacted between the two, but they will be sued double the amount plus the legal fees. So if they got paid $125,000, they got $250,000 plus maybe I would say another $100,000 on the line. So if you open your mouth, it's going to cost you $300,000. So you selling a story to the tabloids, I hope is worth that. That's what the
Mhm.
non-disclosure agreement's for. It's basically to put financial pressure on a person so they can't do X, Y, and Z. And this actually helps a lot of content creators or public figures. They put a lot of people in non-disclosure agreement. They put their nannies on non-disclosure agreements because of the tabloids and TMZ and stuff. They put their security
Right.
guards. They put everything. Every time I do any business, my wife does any business, anything like that, there's a non-disclosure agreement. Matter of fact, it's to the point where there's certain projects where she's working as an assistant to a particular entertainer until it's actually over with. She can't even go into details with me about it, but she can only say hypotheticals so I can help
Mhm.
her out because I'm not there. And she can't even talk to me in certain stretches of time when she's with this person. She can't
Okay.
even send a text message to me just to say I'm okay. So the only way that I can know that she's okay is we have a system is that when she gets on social media and she said, I arrived, I'm on a plane, and she used certain verbiage to let me know she's safe, she's not safe, this is what happened, that what happened.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
do the same thing with her. So then that says if you're a content creator and these are certain rules, these are certain scenarios, right? Imagine if you're dating a person and then you see them pop up at a party, right? And they're smoking and doing all this stuff, and they took a picture of them, maybe him and another actress sitting there, and she does that model pose, like she goes right into actress mode, right? But she done had like 5 shots of Patron, so she think she's doing this wonderful model pose, but it's really a slutty pose,
Yeah.
right? And this picture is all over it, and people are running with it, thinking that they are an item right now. They're running whatever, and then you get home, and then your significant other's crying, right? And you get that, right? So this is what non-disclosure agreements do. Even venues have it, VIPs have it, private VIPs, hotels have it, right? Where people at the hotel used to make money by telling the tabloids where and when actor's going to show up. They used to get paid extra money. After the thing with Princess Diana getting killed, a lot of things changed. There were stories of Michael Jackson having to actually hire a body double to go shopping, where he would have to rent out the whole mall or shut it down to go shopping, and then he had to slip out the back door by having his body double go out the front door. Yeah,
Gee,
that's thing.
I'm gonna have to set up me some NDAs then for some people, and they can contact me because I'm trustworthy. I ain't gonna say nothing to nobody, but if I can set some stuff up and get some people together, I'm for it.
Gotta save up for that pension. So
That's right.
start that business today.
That's right. You're gonna be seeing it in my description area.
Like, people need to realize, because then you don't have to, if you got an NDA, and what people don't realize, like, say you go into a back chat server, and if that person puts up that information, they put it up and say, okay, these are the rules of the server, blah 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 blah. This won't happen, this won't happen, this won't happen, this won't happen. And if it follows the rules of the hosting of the server, right, then unless it's a court ordered subpoena that can supersede an NDA or something like that, you just agree to an NDA. You just agreed to it. You just don't know it, but it's all about the people that's going to enforce it. But when you're dealing with one-on-one and things of that nature with other people, especially if you're not in this person's airspace, and to the point now, even if you're talking to the person every day and you having a relationship, and the way people are so loosey-goosey with their information, personally, yeah, make people sign NDAs. You know what I'm saying? Text messages, make them sign it, like to a certain degree. Sign it, sign that. Sign that. Like, I'm sharing personal information, and if the person like, what's that? Well, explain to them, like, yo, if you decide to get mad at me one day and think you're smart, and you want to do some revenge stuff because you're listening to your friend, like, yeah, what we call it, the fucking girl dress on, right? And you decide, or even especially for the women, right? Because purity is the thing. It's like, whatever is. Sign this. And it's an agreement. It's not a contract. It's an agreement. So it's easy. Both people can come up with the things in it, and then you sign it. You sign it, and nowadays you got smartphones where you can do it with your finger with the little stylus thing. You just sign it digitally or whatever. Y'all both have a copy of it. You keep it. You send it to another email address or something, and then y'all can continue on.
That would be me. Just letting you all know that would be me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah, this will be great. This will help a lot of people because everyone, in the space that we know of is 18 and over.
Yes.
And this will cut this down. And hey, I like this.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm like, that will help a lot of people. And if you say, man, and if you listen, and if y'all hearing this information, put forth and use it. But then you also have to use discretion on what's being done or what's happening or whatever, right? And And when you're talking to someone and this is happening and that is happening, certain things need to go on. Now we all have a time when we rant, right? When we got to just get it out and rant, and that's fine or whatever. But if you're talking to someone directly, that's what you're saying. And if you're saying this in front of a group of folk, right, that's where it gets a little testy, right? Like if you're saying this one-on-one against to somebody, that's where it gets testy. But then you got to be careful of what you do with people, right? What I don't get is if this person's know all this internal information about you, why are you trying to throw them underneath all the buses? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are you treating them in such a way and then get mad when they retaliate in the only way that they know possible? Right? Don't publicly execute somebody and don't expect them to try to publicly execute you, right? You treat people as if they're in front of your face, and people get short-sighted and they let this, I would say, this quote-unquote fame get to them, and then they try to go on this victim tour. I've been victimized, right? And because, like Ruby said, in 2 weeks, people forget about it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And it's also recorded and it's out there and it reflects on the person also. And most people that have jobs, they're working for someone, some company.
Yeah.
They can always look you up. You'd be surprised at the information they look up when you apply for something.
America's terrifying, y'all. Like, I gotta say, because it's not like that in Canada, but your country records the hell out of y'all. Like, it is scary how much information I can find on anybody in America with very few details, right? Like, I can know your criminal record. I can know your credit score. I can know all kinds of things without even having the paid prescription for that website. That's just like the basic stuff you can get before you pay $7.99 for the full report, right? Like, and there's a lot of these websites. It's crazy how much America is being recorded, and it's not the same for Canada. Like, first I thought maybe it was just me, right? Because, I don't really have much of a digital footprint because I've been paranoid of the internet since the dawn of the internet. Like, I was always sure with just my name, people would be able to come and kill me. So, like, even my very first email address was not registered to my real name. And I was like young, right? But yeah, no way in hell. But no, I decided to start like trying to look up people who I know have a much larger digital footprint, and it's not easy to find anything about them because they're Canadian. But an American, I don't even really know, but I got your name. But I could find a lot about you. Like, it's pretty creepy. Like, and I think people don't recognize that. People think that, they're almost invisible because it's the internet. So because you don't know exactly my address and you don't work with me and you don't live in my neighborhood and you don't know my mama and stuff like that, people feel like they're anonymous. And it's like it doesn't take much. Like, guys, with the basic reverse image search, I could take your picture from your display picture there, and I can use that to search you and find out where your face or anything resembling your face has ever been registered to anywhere on the internet, period.
Exactly.
That's how deep this goes. Like, you are not protected.
Here's the crazy part. Right? A lot of people don't realize when Facebook did that change where you actually have to put your actual they did it for a little bit and then they changed it back where you actually have to put your actual name down, right? Your display name can be something different, right? But your actual name down, and you have to verify. And then when you go ahead, and even if you put a fake name in there, but you do a 2-step verification where you verify your actual phone number, right? With your phone, right? Then if a person wanted to if they got that information, if you didn't do the proper things of going through your Facebook profile and hiding your phone number, you get that phone number, Then you get that name. Then what you do in America is you do a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request. It's free. It takes about a good month, but you'll get it back. And you can get all the information. Anything that's too pertinent, they will block that out. But then you can go forward, right? So every time that you hit a keystroke on a social media platform, that's public knowledge. You're putting it out there. You're exposing yourself to the world. When you become a content creator, a lot of people are running their panels and they can do whatever they want. They're running their panels in their communities as if it's this tribal thing. But what you don't realize is that you have become a representation of the people that's around you, and you are now a public figure. Whether your platform has 1 million subs or whether it has 5,
Yep.
right? It doesn't matter. Once you decide to type in the chat room, once you decide to jump on a panel, like the way I speak on certain panels, I wouldn't suggest it for none of you people that actually work for a living for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm self-employed. Do what I want to a certain degree. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people aren't. So you shouldn't be on here ranting and raving and thinking that your little screen name can hide who you are, right?
Mm.
Because though, because if say you pissed off a coworker and they happen to just be evil and they happen to kind of follow you a little bit, and then they notice that one day you slip and talk about something, and they just take the time and they hear you getting all juicy mouthed on the internet, they'll just send that to HR and
Yep.
let you talk about, maybe you slip out and maybe you was insinuating something and you might talk about the alphabet people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who getting the pink slip?
Yep. It could be political parties, anything.
Yep. Anything. You are gone. Especially in this PC culture we got, right? You are gone. They ain't even trying to hear it. You seeing CEOs from companies getting removed. The guy from Papa John's had to sell his own company. How you start a company and kick you out of your own company? That's like somebody, you brought your house and somebody coming in say, man, this is a nice house. I saw when you called those people the N word. So guess what you're going to have to do? Give me your house. Now I'm gonna buy it from you, but I'm gonna force you to sell it. Like Ruby
Oh
said,
yeah.
America's scary. Only in America.
Yep. Land of the free, free information.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
we have hit the midnight hour.
Oh, gotta go.
It, it is that time. And I want to thank you all for joining the panel and the conversation. Those in the chat room, thank you so much for coming and sharing your time and conversation with us. I appreciate it. Thank you for the likes. Any dislikes? Thank you for that too. Thank you for those contributed to the conversation. Thank you for the shares of the video. I got a couple of those. Thank you, everyone that's listening. I appreciate it on Facebook as well as YouTube and the replay.
Mhm.
Also, remember, you can also email me at any time with the topic, which I'm asking actually for advice, not just a topic, because that's where I pull the topics from the letters that I'm getting. And that's justaskchar@gmail.com. It doesn't have to be around about you. It can be around anything about someone that you know. You can remain anonymous. You see, I have not called any names. I will not. You can remain anonymous. The person you're speaking of, anonymous. Lips don't flap over here. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Mhm.
Also, tomorrow, I probably will stream tomorrow. We'll do um, what was that thing called? Um, I got a blank. My topics,
Articles.
my
Yeah.
articles. Yes.
Articles.
Yes, I did not do it last Saturday, but I'm in the mood to do it. I think it will be 7 p.m. Central. I'm not for certain, but just look out. I'll schedule it and you'll see it. And also, I'll put them in the Discord servers, get it out there. Thank you for those who are using your community tabs that have it. Do know when I get mine when I grow up, trust me, I'm going to be using that bad fella daily.
Hmm.
Well,
When I grow up, I like that.
That's right. So thank you so much again. I do appreciate all of you all and hope to see you all tomorrow and be safe. Peace.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
bye.